Good morning. Hey, this is Jeff Wheat. I'm the founder and managing director of Midwest Track Day. Coming to you through your video screen today instead of in person because, well, I think the novel coronavirus is pretty well known at this point. So we're trying to do our part to socially distance. We'll probably use this video for at least June, maybe July, maybe the rest of the year. I don't know. We're going to go by the CDC guidelines and try to keep everyone safe and keep ourselves safe. So let's just jump right into it. I think you guys know the score. Where are we at today? We're at NCM Motorsports Park, but this is going to apply to Putnam Park Road Course as well. I'm going to cover the differences between the two. But in general, all this stuff applies to pretty much every track that we go to or have gone to or any track you're going to go to. So let's talk about the track rules. They're very simple. We would like to keep the track as nice as we found it or better. So what does that mean? If you have trash, put in a trash can. There are lots of trash cans. A lot of people at NCM tend to drag their trash can back into the pit area, and then Jimmy doesn't know it's full, and then you've got an overflowing trash can. Don't do that. Leave it out by the road. Walk your trash out to the road. It's very simple. He'll empty it out, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there's a million trash cans here, so you shouldn't have trouble finding one. At Putnam Park Road Course, they're actually tethered to big spikes in the ground, so you can't move them anyways, so leave them alone. All right, you know what? I'm going to have to just use my phone because you guys know that I'm old and I can't remember anything. So these are my notes. Okay, sweet. So if you brought a puppy dog with you, a velociraptor, a giraffe, elephant, whatever it happens to be, you need to have it on a leash. It's very simple. You know, there's cars and motorcycles driving around. We don't want a puppy dog to get hurt. That would really suck. If you have to change fluid in your bike or whatever, it's not a big deal. There's a couple of different dump stations at NCM. There's one just on the other side of the registration building, or the garage, whatever you want to call it. There's also one down by the fuel station. At Putnam Park, I believe it's over by the service building, but if you don't know, just ask someone, they'll point it out. If you do happen to spill something, it's not a big deal. Please just let us know so that we can get some oil dry or some kitty litter over there and get it cleaned up before it damages the surface. Talking about the surface of the paddock, if you did bring a large trailer RV and you have stabilizer jacks, please put a piece of cribbing underneath the jack, just a little piece of wood just so it doesn't leave a divot in the ground. Again, we're trying to leave the facility better than we found it. If you're in one of the garages, whether it's at NCM or Putnam Park Road Course, please keep your fuel cans outside the garage. And if you have to do fueling throughout the day, which I hope you do because you're burning fuel, push the bike out, fill it up out there, push it back in. We don't want to start an accidental fire inside the garage. That would really suck. If you do have a garage at NCM Motorsports Park, you have an assigned parking spot. So if you're in garage 5, you have parking spot 5. If you did not rent a garage, don't park in one of the assigned parking spots. It's very simple. Let's check my notes because you, again, super old. Oh, pit speed. That's a very important one. In the paddock, the speed limit is 15 miles an hour. No need to go faster than that. You're not in any rush when you're in the paddock. Let's talk about the sound limit. At NCM Motorsports Park, the sound limit is 103 decibels. So what does that mean? If your bike is over the sound limit, you're going to get flagged, you're going to get pulled in for a tech fail. It's the same as if you're dumping oil or smoking or whatever, and you're going to have an option to fix that. And then you'll be able to go back out on track. And if you're over the sound limit again, your day is done. I'm sorry. So I would suggest downloading a dB meter into your phone and getting some idea of whether you're close or not at home. So the sound limit, the sound reading is taken from 50 feet. So have one person do this while you walk about 50 feet away and see where you're at. If you're at or near that limit, I would suggest repacking your silencer while you're at home as opposed to at the racetrack and missing out on track time, because that would suck. Doing maintenance before you get here saves you a lot of hassle, a lot of time, a lot of frustration, and you'll have a much better time. All right, so let's talk passing and groups. So with Midwest Track Day, we break the groups into 3 different run groups: advanced, intermediate, and novice. Everyone goes out for 20 minutes at a time, and then it's the next person's turn. So in the novice group, passing rules are a little bit more strict than they are in the other groups. Passing on the straights only, please, and wait for one of my coaches to wave you by before you pass them. So if you are coming up on a coach, he might be watching someone in front of you and seeing a situation unfold that you don't know about yet. So wait for him to actually give you a wave by before you go past him. And always pass the coaches on the left-hand side if at all possible. In the intermediate group, you can pass the coaches without a wave by. I'm not super worried about it. I would still like you to pass them on the left-hand side, because if they're turned around backwards, it's very difficult to see you over here. So please pass the coaches on the left-hand side. Again, don't have to wait for a wave by in the intermediate. And then you can pass in the outside of the corners. So again, if I'm turning right, pass me on the left, not such a big deal. In the advanced group, passing is unlimited, inside, outside, but please leave plenty of space. Please be courteous, please be mindful and wise with your decisions to make a pass. You know, if you, we're not racing, this is a track day. If you want to race, I'm happy to help you get into that. There's a lot of great resources that we have and a lot of great coaches that are regional and championship racers. But today is not that day. So leave plenty of space, be courteous. Everyone's here to do the exact same thing. All right, now just a few more things about passing that are kind of universal between the groups. If you are stuck behind a group of other riders, sometimes people will form a pack, especially like if they're riding with their buddies or whatever. They just, I don't know. Sometimes it's tough to get around them, especially if you're on a lower horsepower vehicle. Trust me, I used to ride SVs for years, and it could be a little bit frustrating. How do you deal with it? Hot pit. If you're stuck behind, let's say, a group of 3 riders, and then there's you, so there's 4 of you together, that means, so at Midwest Track Day, we only run 1 bike per 100 yards of racetrack. So if there's 4 of you stuck together, there's 400 yards of clear track somewhere else on the course. So how do you deal with that? Use hot pit. Come around to where pit in is, get your arm up, wave it around, let everyone know you're going to pit in. Come down and talk to the starter at NCM. It's either going to be like Daniel or Dawn maybe. At Putnam Park, it's going to be Jeff. And just say, hey, I just want some space. And then they'll hold you there for a second, get you back out on track, and get you going again. If you need to break a rule to avoid a crash, break the rule. We might have you come in and explain why you made the decision that you made, and if it's good, awesome. Now, if you're out there and you're constantly breaking rules, you're dive bombing people on the inside in the novice group, we're going to have a different conversation. But if you have to break a rule to avoid a crash, do it. I'd rather have that conversation with you on hot pit than at the hospital, okay? Now, something that we're going to experiment with this year a little bit, and this is going to be day to day, and I will make it very clear if we do this. We're thinking about opening up the passing rules in the afternoon for the novice and the intermediate group to allow for outside passing in novice and inside passing in intermediate, but that's going to be day by day. So if the morning sessions go well, then I will personally be on hot pit after lunch, and I will tell each one of you individually that we're opening up the passing rules, and I'll let you know that so that there's no confusion. But again, that's day by day. If you don't hear from me otherwise, stick with the normal passing rules. On the straights for novice, straights in the outside of corners for intermediate, and of course, advanced, just be courteous and mindful. All right, let's talk flags and communications. So now these flags are what Midwest Track Day, what I use. This is not necessarily going to be universal across the board, so always check with the provider, or I should say the organization that you're riding with, because I do know that CCS, we're used slightly different flags than we do. I'm not sure about the different track day providers, but you know, obviously you're going to want to review those before you actually get to the event. But for Midwest Track Day, we use a full flag set, and each flag has basically its own meaning except for one that has a combined, but I'll explain that in just a second. So let's get into it. So, green flag. Green flag is very simple. It means the track is clear, safe, and green. We are running. Bikes are on track. You probably won't even ever see this, but it will be displayed at start finish. Like you probably see it at Putnam, but you probably won't see it here. It's not a big deal. It's really just kind of more for the officials. A yellow flag. So you'll see a yellow flag displayed in 2 different ways. standing yellow flag or a waving yellow flag, they basically mean the same thing for a track day, but let's really talk about it. So on the first lap of the first session of the day, there's going to be a standing yellow flag in every corner station. That's there to help you learn where the corner stations are. So on that first lap, take it easy, look around, look for the corner stations. If you see a marshal with the flag, give them a thumbs up. Let them know that you do see where they are, because this is going to be extremely vital information later in the day. This is the only way I have to talk to you out on the racetrack. So after the first lap, we're going to drop our flag and we're going to go green again. Now, after that, if you see a standing yellow flag, probably someone just ran off the track and they're trying to get back on. But who knows? It could be any one of a million things. Either way, what does it mean to you? It means get your head up, put it on a swivel, find out what they're trying to tell you and avoid it. It doesn't mean grab the brakes. It doesn't mean chop the throttle. It doesn't mean change your line. It just means heads up. Something we want you to know about. Now, if you see a standing yellow flag, chances are you might see a waving yellow flag at the next corner station. If you do, more than likely, someone has fallen off their motorcycle. Still act the same exact way. Head up, on a swivel, find out what it is, and avoid it. It doesn't mean grab the brakes. It doesn't mean chop the throttle. It doesn't necessarily even mean slow down. Just a heads up. This is the surface flag. We use the surface flag in two different ways. Standing means that something is on or near the race line. So again, head up on a swivel, find out what it is. You probably will have to deviate from your line a little bit to avoid something. It could be a turtle, it could be a chain, knee puck, bike fairing, any one of another million things. If it's in a triangle and pointed towards the sky, that means that it is, and I know a lot of you don't know this, but it means Stamos is in town. It means it's raining. I said the R word. I have to put a quarter in the swear jar, but whatever, it's raining. How do you act if it's raining? Well, how would you act if you're out on a bike ride and it's raining? If you're on slicks, I would come in. If you're Tommy Specker, you're just going to keep riding. If you're sensible, you're going to come in if you're on slicks. If you're on street tires, like I've got the super courses on my bike, you can still ride. It's not such a big deal. We just want to let you know that the track is now wet. Now, if you see two flags combined, so you might see a surface flag and a waving flag. That means this is where the crash is, and the crash is on the track. You will need to avoid it. So during this section, slow down a little bit so that you can see where it's at, get through there, but then get back up to pace. My personal favorite flag, the meatball flag, because I like spaghetti, but it doesn't mean it's lunchtime. It means that I want to talk to you about something you've done. We're going to have a little conversation. How do you know you're getting meatballed? It will be very obvious. You are being meatballed. So, you'll have your number displayed, start, finish. I think at this track they also do it at 12 or 14. But either way, you will know you are being meatballed. And if you think you're being meatballed, you are. It's not the other guy. It's you. It'll be very, very obvious. What does it mean though? It means, again, we want to talk to you. So how do you deal with it? Acknowledge it with a thumbs up, get back to, or stay at pace, get to where you would come to pit in, get your arm up, wave it around, let everyone know you're going to pit in. At this track, probably going to talk to Tony, and he's going to say, hey, your zipper looks like it's unzipped. We're just going to zip it up, get you back out. Hey, maybe your chin strap's unstrapped. Or hey, why did you just do what you did? And then we'll have a quick conversation, talk about why it was right or wrong, why you needed to do it, and we're going to get you back out on track. Again, you're an adult. I'm not here to yell at you. I just want to make sure that you know what's right so that you're not getting hurt. Black flag. Black flag is going to be done the same way as the meatball flag as far as we're telling you about it. So we're going to be black flagging you, and I mean, we are going to be adamant about it. We're going to be chasing you all through the corner with this black flag. The black flag means that you are not safe. Your bike is smoking, it's dumping oil or some type of fluid, fairings are coming off. Who knows? But we want you to get off of the racetrack as soon as possible. So how do you deal with it? First up, get that hand up. Let everyone behind you know you're going to change what you were doing, roll off the track, or sorry, roll off of the race line, roll off into the runoff, and roll off the racetrack. If you can make it to a corner station, do so. If you don't see one around, it's not a big deal. Just get your bike up against like an Armco or a tire wall or something, and just get on the other side of it. Don't take your helmet off until you're on the other side of that Armco, okay? And then, we'll let you know. Now, if you get out to a spot like turn 1, for example, at Putnam Park Road Course, there's really not a good place for you to park a bike. So just kind of go way out there, drift off to the left-hand side, and then either just lay the bike down or you can put it on a side stand. But if it's on fire, drop the bike where it's at and get the hell away from it. There's no point in standing there next to your motorcycle that's on fire. It's on fire. Let go of it. That doesn't happen though, so we'll see. Red flag. Red flag is going to be at every corner station. Me personally, I go standing red flag. Some people are going to wave it. Doesn't really matter. It means the same thing, but you will know that there's a red flag. A red flag means the track is not safe. It's going to be, again, displayed at every single corner station. It means that I need you to finish your lap and get in on hot pit. So assume that if there's a red flag condition, that there's a rider out there who's not moving and I need to get to him. Well, more importantly, the paramedics need to get to him. So how long would you want to wait? If you see someone out there under red flag condition doing 20 miles an hour, get around them. Try and get them to come with you. Finish that lap. I need you off the racetrack. Do not dilly-dally. Doesn't mean go full 100%, but just chill out. Back it off to 80 and finish that lap. Don't dilly-dally under a red flag. Finally, the checker flag. I think you guys all know what this means. It means it is the next group's turn to go out on the track. So at NCM Motorsports Park, we have 3 checker flags, and I'm going to show you where they're at here in just a moment. But I bought these flags specifically for this racetrack because people kept telling me that they did not see them. This flag's 4 foot tall, 5 foot tall. How tall am I? I don't even know. You can't tell me you didn't see this flag, because if you did not see this flag, it means that you are riding over your head, or you're out there staring at the rear tire of the bike in front of you and not looking where you need to be looking. But either way, we're going to have a quick conversation about that. Do not run my checker. But how do you deal with it? So you see the checker flag, acknowledge it, get around to where pit in is, get your hand up, wave it around, let everyone know you're going to pit in, and do so. That's all the flags communications we have. All right, so let's talk about getting on and off the racetrack. So to get on the track, you're going to go at NCM Motorsports Park, there's 2 buildings. There's the garages, and then there's the Holly Tower, and there's a gap between them. So you'll go through that gap. You're going to make a left to go out onto hot pit. Line up in 2 lines, please, and then we'll send you out at Putnam Park Road Course. You're going to go all the way down to the end, furthest away from the entrance where you came in. And it's going to hook around, and then you'll see it right there. Same thing, just go out onto hot pit. Watch out at that facility for people coming off track, because it's the same spot, unlike it is at NCM Motorsports Park, where they have a different exit. But either way, there's a little bit of cross traffic right there, so just be careful when you're going out, or coming in for that matter. Again, line up in 2 lines, make Jeff's life easy, and then we'll get you going. To come off of the racetrack, at this track, around the turn 17 mark, I want you to get your arm up and waving. I want you to move off to the left-hand side of the racetrack, and I want you to follow the left-hand side of the track all the way to pit in, because pit in is on the left-hand side of the track. Same thing at Putnam Park Road Course. After turn 8, which is the second left-hand corner, stay to the left, have your arm up and waving, let everyone know that you're pitting in so that they know that they've got plenty of space to go around you. And then the pit in lane is just on the left-hand side. and then I'll try to get a video of that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that today, but I will later in the year. Now, let's talk blend line. What is the blend line? Most tracks have a physical painted line on the racetrack that you should not cross on your way out onto the racetrack. It's just like the merge lane on a highway. If you cut across too early, you're not going to be up to speed, and the other vehicles are going to, well, you're going to get together with them, and that's just a terrible idea. So obey the blend line, and we are going to do a little video about that so you can see what I'm talking about. But at tracks that do not have a physical line painted on the ground, you need to put that in your head. So Putnam Park Road Course, for example, does not have a blend line specifically painted on the ground. So when you go out, you need to stay on the left-hand side of that track within about 3 feet of the grass, just all the way down into turn 1. Get up to speed, give yourself time to get up to speed, especially if you're on one of the smaller displacement bikes. If you're on a 300 and you just cut across the track, at that point, someone on 1,000 is already doing like a buck, I don't know, $1.10 at that point. It's a bad idea. Don't cross the blend line. If you do cross the blend line, we're going to have a conversation about that. I think that covers getting on and off the racetrack. And then, oh, one thing I want to talk about, pit in and passing. Do not pass a rider between the rider and pit in. It's just a terrible idea. People forget where pit in is, especially early in the day, or they're not thinking, or all of a sudden they've got a leg cramp and they're like, oh no, I need to pit in. Man, it's just a bad day. So between pit in and a rider, don't be in that middle ground. Go around them on the other side. I think that pretty much covers all the passing rules and getting on-off track and then pit in. So then the next thing we'll talk about is the novice rider meeting. So if you're not a novice, you don't need to watch this part. Okay, so I've got the novice riders with me in spirit, I guess. So let's talk about novice and just the little things that we do, maybe a little bit differently than someone else, but either way, this is how we run novice. So the very first session of the day, we're going to, I've talked about how to get on and off the track, I've talked about the blend line, but we're going to show it to you physically. So the first lap is going to be a parade lap. More than likely, Tony's going to go out first, or Gino. We're going to show you where on the track you should be. We're going to show you, just the track. Especially if you've never been here, you don't know where the next corner is. So don't do any passing. Don't leave a big gap so that you can get on the throttle that first lap. You got all day to have fun, okay? The first lap is for you to learn the flow of the track, where you should be on, in the actual part of the track. So it should be to the left, to the right, down the center. Find the apexes, watch for those yellow flags, learn where the corner stations are. And then when we get to pit in, we're going to do a full pit in procedure. We're going to get our hand up, we're going to wave it around, we're going to let you know this is where you should start doing this. We're going to go on pit lane, we're going to come down, we're going to re-grid, and then we're going to go back out. So the very first lap is parade lap, just to show you the track, how to get on the track, look for that blend line, look to see if there's not a blend line and where you need to put one in your mind. But take that opportunity for that first lap to look around. Later in the day, you might come into a corner a little bit hotter than you thought. Maybe there's a perfectly good place that you can run off the track. It's not such a big deal. This track has a bunch of paved runoff. It's really nice. Use that time to familiarize yourself with the venue, and that way, you're going to have a better day. So novice riders, I want to talk to you about if you happen to fall off your motorcycle. I'm going to beat this into your head, okay? If you fall off your bike has crashed. This is not a race. You do not need to rejoin the session. It's not important. What is important is keeping you safe. So don't turn your back to the racetrack and stand there and look at your crashed bike. Don't do that. This bike's going 100 miles an hour behind you, and now what are they looking at? Have you heard of target fixation? They're staring at you the whole time they're going through that corner. Oh, is he okay? What's happening? walk over to your bike, hit your kill switch, make sure it's not running. I don't want to ruin your bike, but leave it where it is, get away from it. If you happen to like go way off in the runoff and you want to pick your bike up for whatever reason and roll it over, that's fine, but why? The bike's crashed. Just get on the other side of the wall. Give the marshals a thumbs up if you like, if you're okay. Now, if you are not okay, don't move. Just chill out. We'll come and get you. We'll shut it down. There's no need for you to injure yourself. It's just a track day. No one cares if we have to shut it down for 5 minutes to come and help you. It's fine. One time I crashed, my boot was stuck on the peg. I was perfectly fine, but I couldn't get out. So I had to just sit there and wait. It's just, things happen. It's not a big deal. But again, do not ever turn your back to that racetrack. It is not a good idea. Also, if you do happen to fall off your bike or run out of gas or whatever, you're stranded somewhere out on the track, you have a mechanical of some sort, don't take your helmet off, don't take your gloves off, don't do that. You're wearing that for a very specific reason. It's not because you're on the bike, it's because you're on the track. Get on the other side of the Armco, walk down to a corner station. Once you're in a safe zone, which is not on a hot racetrack, you can pull your helmet off. It's not such a big deal. I know it gets hot out there, it really sucks. I've sat out there for a while, but you got to keep that helmet on until you're safe. Let's talk about coaching a little bit. I have plenty of coaches. I run one coach per 4 or 5 bikes max at all of my events. So if there's 30 of you here, you got plenty of coaches. We're happy to help you with anything you want to work on. I would suggest having a goal in mind before you get here. And that goal should not be a lap time. It should be, how do I brake better? How do I brake safer? How do I accelerate safer? How much throttle should I be adding? The thing that I do every time I go to a new track is, my first session, I'm going to learn the track. My second session, if I'm not hitting each apex, that's what I'm working on in the next section, or the next session, I mean. I want to hit every single one of those apexes, because if I'm on the line, then I can start to go a little bit quicker and know where I'm at. But either way, maybe it's body position. Whatever you want to work on, we're happy to help you. And if you have any questions, a lot of times people will show up and they got 42 rear PSI in the rear tire. We're not riding on the street today. Talk to the coaches about stuff like that. Talk to the suspension guy. We usually have velocity calibrations with us, or Turn 1 Racing. They can go through and help you with your suspension, get all that stuff tuned up. If you have any questions, we have someone here who has the answer. Please come talk to us. We're going to have a novice captain. I would like to have you, when you come through registration, even during the coronavirus stuff, stop at registration. Let me know if it's your first time on track, and then we can talk about anything that you want to in private, or we can get you with a coach throughout the day. The coaches. The coaches are going to have a very bright colored shirt on. On the back of that shirt, it's going to be like a 10 or a 5 or a 7. But either way, if you're out there and you're working with a coach in a green shirt with a number 5, it's nice and easy to figure out who it was. So kind of pay attention to that if you are being coached by someone on track. At the end of each session, the coaches are going to come in they're going to come in pit in onto hot pit, and they're going to park off to the side. And they're going to wait for you. They want to talk to you. What did you learn that session? What did you do well? What did you do poorly? That's our whole goal, is to make sure that you're getting out of the day what you want to get out of the day. So talk to the coaches. They want to talk to you. They want to help you. It's really fun for us to do that. But again, if you have any questions, please shoot me an email or just come talk to me in person at the track. I think that covers pretty much everything we're going to talk about in the novice meeting. So let's get out on track.